The launch of a new console generation. One of the best times to invest in not having any money. Where do I sign up? I'll take 6. Of course, anytime somebody makes such a sizable purchase of something like a new console, especially right at launch, they're going to want to pick up the hottest new exclusive titles so they can justify their reckless spending to all their friends and family.
I swear I'm not an idiot. It can play ARMS. I swear I'm not normally an idiot.
This is where killer launch titles come in, those highly anticipated games that release alongside a brand new console. Your Mario 64s, your Breath of the Wilds, your Steel Divers, we all cope differently. These games might not be the only reason you were interested in a new platform, but they're probably why you pulled the trigger. And then there's the other type of launch title, the proverbial tech demos, games that are designed to take 110% advantage of all the cool new features developers will probably never actually use. These may not be why you bought the system, but they're definitely the first thing you pop in when you're trying to flex to a friend, and then 6 months later you realize, I paid $50 for this! But what if there managed to be a game that sets off to fully show off the potential of a new piece of hardware and succeeds at doing so, while still feeling like a worthwhile and standalone experience? Enter Astro's Playroom, released alongside the PlayStation 5. It comes pre-installed and ready to play when you boot up your new console for the first time. This is actually not the first appearance of the Astrobot character. He made his debut in Astrobot Rescue Mission for the PSVR, a game that was widely heralded as being the Super Mario 64 of virtual reality, showing people for the first time the real capabilities of the format. Who better to call then when it comes time to introduce the world to the brand new DualSense controller? Okay, so get this, Astro's Playroom is a 3D collectathon platformer published by none other than Sony Interactive Entertainment. You play as the titular Astrobot on a somewhat amorphously defined quest to gather artifacts relating to the history of PlayStation. As well as that, this game sets off to familiarize you with the DualSense, the latest in a long line of PlayStation controllers now packed with more immersive features than ever. From the second you boot into the title screen, you can feel everything. It seems like most people, including myself, when they think about the DualSense, instantly jump to the adaptive triggers as the number one thing that sets it apart from other controllers. Once I actually started playing with the thing though, what immediately blew me away the most was the haptic feedback combined with the DualSense's built-in speaker. Now, the Wiimote had a built-in speaker, and that was what I would describe as a nuisance, but instead of going the gimmick route, the PlayStation 5 uses the built-in speaker in tandem with your display's speakers, or your headset to create a sort of surround sound effect. Now, if you already have some sort of surround sound setup, this probably won't do much for you, but it works shockingly well on someone like me who's only ever used stereo audio. That's not all though, because both of these features tag team you with the haptic feedback. Imagine if you took the HD Rumble from the Switch and then actually used it in a game. This creates an incredible effect that I describe as being able to feel sound. You've really got to feel it yourself to understand. Stimuli from all three sources combined together so you don't even know what you're hearing or feeling from where, you just know that it's unbelievably immersive. I can't wait to see what's done with this in VR. Astrobot has a relatively straightforward 3D platforming moveset. You can move, jump, attack, and shoot beams from his feet to hover for a short period of time and destroy some obstacles and enemies. The game starts you out in CPU Plaza, the central hub of the game that allows you to access every other area. There are 4 main stages: SSD Speedway, Cooling Springs, GPU Jungle, and Memory Meadows, each segmented into 4 subsections. You can take on these levels in any order and fast travel between different sections and entirely different levels at will. These levels are gorgeous. I've always thought that higher graphical horsepower usually serves more cartoony games the best, and it really rings true here. I haven't played many modern 3D platformers, but Astro's is definitely a contender for the most impressive looking so far. The actual level design takes a page out of the Banjo-Kazooie playbook. Always a good idea. Even though the levels do have an end and are technically somewhat linear, unlike in Banjo-Kazooie, the comparison becomes more apt when you realize that your goal isn't really to get to the end of the stage, but more so to collect everything there is to find inside. There are 2 main collectibles to look out for. Artifacts, basically interactive 3D renders of various pieces of PlayStation hardware throughout history, and puzzle pieces, which form together to create a mural paying tribute to the brand. Hunting these out is actually super satisfying, although I'm not sure you would need much extrinsic encouragement to do so. These stages are awesome to explore. Each one has its own unique theme, loosely based around its name, and with it comes a swath of brand new gameplay opportunities showing off something the PS5 can do. In part of a level, you might be using gyro controls and the adaptive triggers to scale a monkey suit up a cliff face, and in the next, you might be using them to pull back and aim a bow. In another level, you might be using the built-in mic to blow platforms away from you, or rolling around a giant ball using the touchpad. At the same time though, Astro's Playroom really doesn't feel like a tech demo. It seems like the developers lived by the philosophy that the best way to show off how all the new PS5 features might be used in a game was just to make a game that utilized all the new PS5 features. I really underestimated the DualSense. I know I somewhat glossed over the adaptive triggers earlier, but they also had a few surprises up their sleeves. I genuinely wasn't expecting such a large amount of application-specific fine-tuning as seen in the final product. Coiling the spring in the frog suit, for example, feels different than pulling back a bow. Not just in that the amount of tension is different, pulling back the bow is much smoother while coiling the spring feels springy. And then there's cases where there isn't any tension at all. All of a sudden there's just a click, like when working with the Gashapon machine. Things that would never occur to you, like the trigger actually giving you hard knockback while operating a machine gun. It's incredible. If you want 100% Astro's Playroom, the process is relatively straightforward. You'll of course need to gather every collectible from every stage, 142 of them in total. Once you've done that, all that's really left to do is clean up a few remaining achievements. These are a ton of fun if you enjoy the game as much as I do, but they're all pretty basic tasks that you can take care of very quickly if you make liberal use of fast travel. The only real exception is the Run Astro Run achievement, which requires you have a combined total time of lower than 7 minutes between every run in the network speedrun category. I've got to admit, I was a bit disappointed with how easy this was to do. I only ever had to retry one run to lower my time, and once you've done that, all else the mode really has to offer is a leaderboard that realistically you'll never be able to move up on anyway. Okay, so conclusion time. What do I think about Astro's Playroom? I think it goes without saying at this point that this game blew me away. It managed to sell me on hardware that I had already bought, and beyond that, it stands on its own as an all-around excellent title. It feels very fitting to have a game so centered around celebrating the history of PlayStation to be the first game I ever completed on a PlayStation system, as well as my first of many platinum trophies. The situation is a bit complicated here though. With it being an exclusive PS5 pack-in and all, it's not like I can really tell you to go buy the game, and even if I could, you probably wouldn't be able to. With that being said though, if you do have a PS5 and for whatever reason you've neglected this game so far for Miles Morales or Demon's Souls, I implore you, go play Astro's Playroom and then sing its praises online. We need more games like this.
And with that, we can conclude this week's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. This was obviously a very special episode, and for that reason I definitely put a lot of effort into it. If you did enjoy it, I would really appreciate it if you could drop a like, and if you're excited to see some more PS5 videos in the very near future, why not subscribe as well? Are you interested in picking up a new console? Comment down below and let me know. While you're at it, you can also share the video with anyone you think might enjoy it. It helps out more than you know. If you'd like to check out my socials or any of the music used in this video, all of that can be found in the description below. And with that being said, I will see you all next week. As always, thanks for watching.